Right now, Samuel Miranda, the man, the person of interest in this particular case, is at the Enforcement Directorate office currently. We understand that Samuel Miranda has gone to the ED office and he will be questioned today, remember, at the ED office. ED, of course, had wanted to question Samuel Miranda because he is a person of interest. He is, of course, was considered to be close to Sushant Singh Rajput at one point in time. He's also some sort of a manager, as far as I know, of his affairs. So Samuel Miranda comes to ED office. He will be questioned today by the ED. The news, it seems, is tightening around Mr. Miranda, who's been evading, remember, not just Times Now, but also other authorities who wanted to question him. Now he had to come to the ED office and he will be questioned by the Enforcement Directorate today. Samuel Miranda, remember, is one of the protagonists in the post-Sushant Singh death scenario, given the fact that he was considered to be close to Sushant Singh Rajput at one point in time. He also managed to had to manage his affairs at one point in time. He was the house manager, if I'm not wrong here. So Samuel Miranda comes to the ED office, given the fact the ED was looking for him. Now he'll have to answer their questions. He's been evading Times Now as well, remember. My colleague in Mumbai had gone to Samuel Miranda's house, but he did not answer. He did not even open the door. But he's had to come to the ED office today in Mumbai, and he'll have to answer the ED's questions. There you are. Those are the first visuals coming in. These are exclusive visuals on Times Now. Samuel Miranda taking the lift, going to the ED office, and will be questioned. I believe he's the man in the blue N95 mask there. Through the railings, through the grill, you can see him taking the lift, and he will be questioned by the ED today. All right, we'll go across to our colleagues joining us now on the broadcast in just a bit. Kajal Iyer will be joining us from Mumbai, as well as Aruneel and Siddhant already with us right now. I believe Siddhant is already patched through to us. Siddhant, tell us a bit about Samuel Miranda, how he's been evading Times Now's questions today. He's had no choice but to come to the ED office and answer their questions.
Well, that's right. Samuel Miranda is at ED office. We have managed to get his visuals entering Enforcement Directorate's office. Now, the fact here is that Samuel Miranda was employed as Sushant's manager by Rhea Chakraborty. He was somebody very close to Rhea Chakraborty. So when Rhea allegedly started sacking the people close to Sushant as far as his staff is concerned, then one of the managers were replaced by Samuel Miranda. Now, Sushant used to use Samuel Miranda's SIM. So Sushant's two cell phones were operational. One of the SIM
Siddhant, stay on with us. I believe Wajiullah has been tracking Samuel Miranda. In fact, it was Wajiullah who tried to go to his house to speak to him. He's on the broadcast as well. Wajiullah, what's the latest at the ED office? What can you tell us?
Well, we've seen visuals of Samuel Miranda entering the ED office. This is the ED office of Mumbai, and the ED office is the only central agency that is now looking into the investigation of Sushant Singh Rajput. They're looking into the financial angle that has been alleged by the family, and Samuel Miranda has reached. As we already know, that ED will be summoning a lot of other people with regards to this case. The CA will also be summoned. Other friends of Rajput will also be summoned, and we've also been seeing Rhea being summoned here tomorrow. So this is what the ED is doing. We've also visited the house of Samuel Miranda at Andheri twice, and both the times he was inside the house is what we were told by the neighbors and the shopkeepers over there, but he did not come out and meet us. He continued to stay inside. So right now it's the first time that we're seeing Samuel Miranda, who's here, who's come to the ED office and who's been questioned. Will be questioned now by the ED office on with regards to the financial transaction, on what was the situation at the point when Sushant committed suicide. It is also believed by a few friends that he was present inside the building when they broke open the lock, and he was also there. So it now gives us a clear picture that people are coming in for questioning those who were at the those who were nearby the scene when Sushant passed away. So Miranda is now inside and he will be questioned by the ED office, and it depends on how many more people will be called in. We've already been told that the CA and Rhea will be called in. CA and a few others will be called in by today and Rhea by tomorrow. So this is the latest update that Miranda has been called in by the ED and he's inside.
All right, Wajiullah, stay on with us. This, I believe, is the the second such interrogation or questioning of Samuel Miranda by the ED. Bhavtosh Singh joining us now on the broadcast as well. Bhavtosh, the ED, of course, is looking at a potential money laundering angle as far as Sushant Singh Rajput's finances are concerned. They've questioned some other people as well. We already know they've questioned his CA, Sridhar, I believe. Now it's Samuel Miranda's second time. We understand the second time around when you go to the ED office, that of course means you're a person of interest.
Athar, adding to what Vaji and Siddhant has said, today is the second time when Samuel Miranda has been called in for questioning, and it now appears that ED has found something which is amiss as far as this case is concerned. ED has already clarified that they are only looking at the money laundering aspect of the case and whether any kind of financial irregularities have happened. Now, yesterday they found details and documents with effect of two houses, or two apartments in Mumbai, in posh area of Mumbai. Now, the income tax return and also the income that was generated by Rhea in the financial year 2018-2019 was just 14 lakh rupees, and her father's pension stands at around 8 lakh rupees. So the question that can be asked is from where she got this money to buy these two plush houses in Mumbai. More importantly, Sushant's father had alleged that around 15 crore rupees was siphoned off from his son's bank account. But these two properties are much more than 15 crore rupees. And that's the reason why ED wants to know from Rhea Chakraborty, who is the real beneficial owner of these properties. Was she fronting these properties? Did the two companies which were set up in September 2019 and January 2020, were they just front companies, shell companies to launder the money?
Now, this is extremely important what Bhavtosh is telling us right now, because Rhea Chakraborty, remember, the questions that will be thrown to her by the ED will also involve whether or not she was acting as a front for somebody else. As Bhavtosh has told us right now, the property that was purchased now, that plush two bungalows that Bhavtosh was talking about, they are much more than 15 crores in total value. Let's quickly go across to Siddhant as well. Siddhant, as Bhavtosh and Vajullah have been telling us, this is the second time that Samuel Miranda has been called in for questioning by the ED. Now, ED is only one of the agencies that are looking at all aspects of the case. ED, of course, is concentrating or trying to concentrate on the money laundering aspect, potential money laundering, if there was any. Now, this is not the only person they will question, I believe. There are more people the ED wants to speak to, and that includes Rhea Chakraborty as well.
Well, that's right. You know, that includes Rhea Chakraborty's chartered accountant as well as Sushant's chartered accountant. Not just that, today Samuel Miranda has been called in for the second time. As Bhavtosh was mentioning that the income tax returns of Rhea Chakraborty doesn't reflect, doesn't talk about the wealth and the money she has. And that year itself, she purchased two plush flats, plush properties in Mumbai, plus her father's retirement money. So all these things needs to be probed. Now, if you talk about Samuel Miranda's role, then Sushant Singh Rajput used to use his SIM card as Sushant's phone number first. Second, the allegations from the family is that Samuel Miranda was close to Rhea, and it was Rhea who kept him on a job. So he knew everything, each and every details about Sushant's finances, his investment, everything. And third, and the most important, in the complaint given to Bihar police, which includes Rhea plus 5 others, one of the name is of Samuel Miranda. So definitely he is a key player in this entire scenario, and this is the reason that he has been called in second time to Enforcement Directorate for the questioning. Now, you know, other people will also be called in to corroborate, to look into the financial details. We have also told our viewers that how Rhea and Shovik were partners in two of the Sushant's companies, which was set up by Sushant. So definitely ED will like to look into that particular aspect also, that for what purposes these companies were floated, and how much money was spent through these companies. So to ascertain all these details, Samuel Miranda has been called in.
Right.
Now the greater, the more details will come out after his questioning, but CAs of both Rhea and Sushant will also be questioned, and yes, that
yes, sir, I believe